In a megacity in Korea, apartment complexes come the most popular type of home and snappily multiply, transubstantiating the area into a huge cement timber. One morning, a massive earthquake hits the megacity, and all these structures begin to deteriorate down. At his apartment, an injured Min Sung wakes up and goes to the deck to discover his complex is the only one left standing in an ocean of destruction. Also, he goes downward to discover the residents agitating what to do and looking at the operation companion, but it'll take a while to get the creator handling. Min Sung returns to his apartment with some inventories and works with his woman Mai Hong-hwa to portion their food. She thinks they should leave for her father's home, but Min Sung points out it's too dangerous out there. As hours pass, survivors from the destroyed structures start coming to the only remaining complex looking for a place to stay. In the evening, a mama and her sprat knock on Min Sung's apartment, hopeless soliciting for help. She says Min Sung is the only bone that opened the door and indeed offers to pay. Min Sung hesitates to let them in, but when Ma Young-hwa hears them, she incontinently offers them a spot to sleep in. The coming morning, Min Sung goes to the event, where people are dealing some inventories. They don't take plutocrat, however. They only accept lighters, gas, or water. Another man pays with some batteries, so Min Sung ends up paying with his watch. As he makes his way upstairs, he notices the corridors are getting crowded with outlanders and fights. Frequently post-date over inventories. When a peach can accidentally falls and rolls under a settee, Min Sung rushes to recoup it, only to scarify a bunch of roaches into coming out. In an apartment, Ma Young-hwa is tutoring the sprat how to use a walkie documentary, and when Min Sung comes back, he goes straight to the bedroom. Ma Young-hwa joins him and discovers the peaches, but when she tries to partake with the others, Min Sung stops her, saying they have earned the right of a treat for just them. The couple starts enjoying the peaches, only to be intruded by the mama who wants to ask a question. Now they've no choice but to partake the peaches with them. As days pass, the rainfall gets colder and further outlanders keep coming. Min Sung is starting to get irked, because he thinks these people are abusing the hospitality. Suddenly they hear people fighting, and Ma Young-hwa goes to check on a wounded man, because she's a nanny. At that moment, Bank starts coming out from behind a door and the apartment explodes in tears, causing everyone to back down. Still youthful, Tak comes through with a fire extinguisher and tries to put off the deers. Unfortunately, it isn't enough, so rather he rushes to release the exigency sock and gives it to Min Sung, who rushes to fight the deers. He's unfit to control the sock, however, so youthful Tak comes through again and takes it inside to eventually put an end to the fire. Subsequently, the others thank young Tak for his heroism, and they agree to a special meeting involving only the structure residers. A tries to keep effects organized, but soon an argument ensues over what to do with the outlanders. Ma Young-hwa says they should try to find a way to live all together, but numerous people differ, and A points out how numerous of these people come from fancier structures and used to look down on them for being middle class, not to mention inventories are running low. Since Min Sung is a public menial, he's asked for advice, and he points out they need to form some kind of association to work together through the extremity, starting by getting a leader. A nominates youthful Tak for his heroism, and everyone supports the decision. Next, the group decides to bounce if they'll kick out the outlanders or not. They use a system with people going into a room one by one and putting a white or a black gravestone inside a charge so the votes can be anonymous. Once everyone has suggested, they check the monuments and confirm utmost residents want the outlanders gone. but they'll have to make a plan first. Latterly in the evening, Myung-hwa asks Min, "Sung what color?" He chose, but dodges the question. At that moment, the sprat asks her to help him get to the restroom. So while Myung-hwa goes down, Sung looks at his injuries and has a flashback of what happened before the earthquake reached his home. He had been down in the area that got hit first, and he and other men were trying to push a truck to save a woman stuck outside. Still, when the destruction began getting near, everyone ran down, so Sung hid inside auto and watched the woman die. His auto was pushed around a couple of times too, but thanks to the seatbelt he was suitable to survive. The coming day, Tak asks Sung to lead the anti-crime task force because he went through military service some time ago. Subsequently, youthful Tak and Jeon gather all the chosen task force leaders, who all have military training. A man says the leaders should be only possessors and not renters, but Jeon points out there's no bank or plutocrat then, they are all equal. They agree to match at dawn with some munitions, just in case any stranger tries to repel, but they clarify they shouldn't kill anyone. Suddenly Do-kyun announces his health isn't good enough for this and quits, causing everyone to judge him. Subsequently, Sung gets an essence bar from his wardrobe to use as an armament, which worries Myung-hwa. At dawn, youthful Tak checks on his mama before joining the platoon. Jeon makes a big advertisement about possible empty spaces to make the Outlanders leave the structure, and Myung-hwa has to say farewell to the mama and the sprat. Formerly, all the Outlanders are out of the door. The task force comes out with walls, and youthful Tak tells the Outlanders that they can't live there presently. Soon everyone is complaining, especially because the temperature will indurate them to death, and there are empty apartments in the structure. It's also revealed that the quarter Solon is in the crowd too, and he tries to offer a speech, but young Tak isn't hysterical of his position and kicks him out too. And Stranger calls him out for treating the government with discourteousness and tells the others to start pushing their way outside. Chaos incontinently ensues as the task force tries to block the doors to stop the Outlanders from entering. But they push so hard that the glass breaks. The task force falls, and many Outlanders attack them. But after some struggle, they manage to push them back, and further people come down from the apartments to help. Youthful Tak gets hurt in the process, and formerly the Outlanders are pushed back by using the walls. He yells at them with blood on his face, causing a scary print. At that moment, some residers start throwing jewels from their apartments, and the Outlanders run down. Everyone celebrates except for Myung-hwa, who's disturbed by all this violence. During the following days, the residers work together to rebuild any damage to the structure and share all the inventories. They also make a gate around the complex to stop everyone from crossing into their home. Jeon establishes some rules: only residers may live there. It's interdicted to go by and out at will to avoid trouble. No fires should be started, and sections are handed according to one's benefactions, so nothing will relax off. When it comes to particular hygiene, because of the lack of water, they must put their dirt in bags and throw it into a hole in the ground. A bunch of task forces are also formed for the sake of association. The anti-crime force is in charge of details and maintaining order, and they allow any man aged than 16 to join. The sections force distributes the inventories duly, and the conservation force works on repairs. There's also a medical force that helps with injuries. Everyone is happy to be working together and perfecting their living space. When the lack of inventories begins to be a problem, Sung and many men leave the complex to go looking for food in the megacity remains. The farther they go, the further bodies they find on the ground, including the Solon. Suddenly the residers see an explosion in the distance. but thankfully the group manages to come back safely. They have brought back some food, but at most of it's moldy. From also on, Min. Sung's group leaves every day to check every structure on the chart. The only time they find a complex standing, they only find bodies outside, and it's all the result of mortal violence. They do bring some food back occasionally, but it's not important and they are always short on inventories. One night while they're out there, Young Tak and Min, Sung converse while watching another explosion in the distance, and Min, Sung says he thinks they'll be awarded for all the suffering they are going through. He also comments that Ma Young-hwa had a confinement last time, which explains her need to cover the sprat.